Everyone, my name is Aubrie Rose. Welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to do like a mix of 3 videos. It's going to be my June recap, June reading recap, and also the road trip recap. Please don't mind my congestedness. I got sick on the way back from our road trip. But yes, so the first 2 weeks of June, I really didn't do much of anything. I think I kind of sat on my bed and listened to true crime for like 2 weeks, which I'm not proud of, definitely not. But yeah, I was having difficulty getting back into writing, or I didn't even like touch my writing, and I was just kind of like waiting for our road trip. I did read this lovely book, Love and Gelato. I don't know. So I'm going to do a little review for that one real quick. So it was definitely really good. I don't remember anything that I would have or anything that I really disliked about it. I think probably gets like 4.5 stars for good, because there was a little bit of wonkiness, I think. I don't know. But yes. And then for good, I guess it wasn't like the most innovative. Actually, you know what? I don't know. I'm just gonna give it 4.5 stars. And then clean also gets 4.5 stars because it was very clean throughout the whole thing. But then there were just a couple kisses at the end, which I'm totally like, it's kind of part of the genre. There's just one part that I'm going to give it like 0.5 star for, or take away 0.5 star for. And then fun, it was really fun. I really enjoyed it. I didn't enjoy the first half of the book as much, but I definitely loved the second half of the book. It won me over in the second half. And yeah, so I think I would give this like a solid 4.5 stars. It was a really cute book, and I'm really excited to watch the movie. I'm going to be doing that later today, and I will vlog that. But yes, so that was the only book that I read in June, and I pretty much reached my 50 books read goal. I wanted to read 50 books this year, pretty much reached that. So I changed my goal to 70 books, so we'll see how that goes. I'm pretty sure I can make it, because even if I'm pretty behind, December is like my off day, or my off month for writing. I just take a break during December. That's what I did last year, so that's what I'm gonna do this year, and so I can catch up on any reading that I fall behind on, so that'll be good. And now I guess we do the road trip, because that was pretty much all of the rest of June. So I'm going to show you some clips, I guess, and then talk about it. The first day of our trip was the 17th. My parents woke up at 4 to leave, so I ended up just not going to bed the night before, and then we left at 5, and we drove to Joplin, Missouri, and we went and we saw the arch, as you can see here. So we didn't end up going inside of the arch, but there was this really big museum underneath the arch, which was really cool. So we went and we walked around in there, and then we drove through Missouri and into Oklahoma. I don't remember where we stopped in Oklahoma, but we went and saw an old friend in Oklahoma, and he is now married, and so we met his wife, and that was really nice. They were very nice and very sweet, and it was really good to see, well, one of them again and meet the other one. And yeah, so we stayed in Oklahoma, and that was the first day of our trip. The 18th was our second day of the trip, and honestly, this day was probably my favorite. So we drove through Oklahoma, finished driving through Oklahoma, and I believe we drove through Texas until we got to New Mexico. So that's just that here, it's Texas and New Mexico. A lot of less trees, no trees, which is very sad. I missed the trees, and I kept telling my brothers that when we got back home, I was going to hug a tree, which I still have yet to do, but am still going to do. There's a handful of trees, but definitely not the forests that were there the first day. I love windmills, so I always make sure that I film them whenever we go on a long road trip because we normally see some. So in New Mexico, we drove through Roswell, which is supposedly really close to where some aliens crash landed in 19 something or other. I can't remember the exact year, but there were a lot of alien things, and so we actually went inside that alien invasion station, and we got some wacky t-shirts, and it was pretty fun. So the actual story, or the supposed cover-up, is that the Air Force, I believe, was testing a balloon of some sort, and then there were dummies that were falling out of the balloon that people thought were aliens, and the stuff crashed on a farmer's property, and he found a disc, but he was not very happy that he went and told everyone because everyone thought it was aliens. And yeah, so that's the story if you guys wanted to know. Probably not, but oh well, now you do. So here we have the White Sands. So this is a national park in New Mexico. I believe it's in Las Cruces, which is the crosses in Spanish. I was having a lot of fun trying to learn what all of the names that we passed were in English. And yes, so my dad actually got us into this national park for free because he's a veteran. So that was very nice. And yeah, so thank you to my dad for his service. And yes, so this park was so cool. It literally looked like there was snow in the desert. It was totally messing with all of our brains. And the sand was actually really cool because, or it wasn't cool, but it wasn't hot. It wasn't burning hot because it's white, so it reflects the sun instead of darker sand, which just I don't know, the heat gets trapped inside of it instead of reflecting off of it like this. I think that's the scientific way to say it. But yeah, so it was so cool. We actually saw a little white lizard, and my brother saw a white skink, and I saw a sick bug that I was not fond of, but it had white bits too. It was so much fun to walk through the dunes, and then the sun was being really cool, so I videoed that as well. On our third day, there was a lot less driving. We drove through the rest of New Mexico out of Las Cruces, and then we went to Arizona, and we actually spent the day in Arizona, and we visited two friends. So we went to In-N-Out for lunch, and we visited a friend, and then we went to another friend's house for dinner, and we mostly went to their house so I could play with their dog. They have a German Shepherd named Boba, and he is the best. So we played with him, and it was a lot of fun. 20th was a Monday, the fourth day and the last day of our road trip to where we were going in California. So we finished driving through Arizona, and then we actually visited one of my dad's work friends in San Diego? Is that where we were? I can't remember. And we went to the beach in La Jolla, and we saw a bunch of seals and lots of squirrels. We were freaking out about the fat squirrels, we don't see them every day in Illinois. It was funny. And then we saw some seagulls and pelicans. And yeah, I also got a 2nd-degree sunburn while we were in La Jolla, or the Joy. So it wasn't very joyful for me, but yes. So I had to be pretty careful about my sunburn for the rest of our trip, which was not the most fun thing in the world. trip stuff on the way there. And then once we got to California, we stayed 2 days with our friends. It was really fun. We were just talking and playing games, and then they took my brothers to a trampoline park and we got shaved ice, and we got it with like the sweetened condensed milk, which I've wanted to try since I read the Porcelain Girl book by Taylor Bennett. And so that was really fun to actually be able to try. And I got it with vanilla ice cream too. It was so good. And yeah, so we had 2 days with friends. And then the third day, we helped them pack and get everything out because they were leaving to go to the wedding venue to set everything up. And so then we were just in their house for like 2 days. I believe that same day we went and we drove past all of our old houses in California, because we used to live in California. And yeah, so there were 3 houses. We went and we drove past all of them, and then we went to dinner with some more old friends. And so there were 5 people there that we ate dinner with and talked to, and that was really nice. And then Friday was the wedding, so we drove down to another one of my dad's friends. That was one of his work friends. So we stayed at his house for a little while. We had lunch, and then we got ready for the wedding. Then we drove to the wedding, and my brothers were like the ushers, and then I got to work at the gift table. So they had waters, the gift table, they had a cute little box for cards, they had a book to sign, and then they had fans. And so I was just like directing them to all the stuff, like here's this and this and this. And then I told a couple people the wrong place where the bathrooms were because I didn't know where the bathrooms were. And then when I finally did know where the bathrooms were, no one asked me anymore. But yeah, I had a lot of fun. Unfortunately, I did not have all the information that I probably needed for the guests because I was like the first person they saw. So I was the first person who got all their questions, and I'm like, I am so sorry. I don't know. All I know is the gift table stuff, but I tried to be as helpful as possible, and I had a lot of fun. And then the lady who was in charge of everything, she was so sweet. She was like, you look like you were made to work at the gift table. And I was like, yes. Anyway, it was a lot of fun. And so then all the bridesmaids started coming or walking out. So like the wedding started and I was still over by the gift table. I was like, oops. And so then me and a few other guests who were late, we just waited until the bride walked down, and then the pastor, I forget what he's called, but he actually prayed. So I was able to run down to my seat, and I actually went down the wrong way. So I went down the aisle, and then there was someone right there. And so then I had to look down the row where my family was sitting. I was like, oh, I gotta go to the other side. Thankfully, the prayer was long enough that I was able to go all the way to the other side, sit down, and then I think I sat down for a little while before they were done. And so then I tapped on my brother's shoulder to like not scare him that I was sitting right next to him. He did not care, which is funny because normally he's like really, like he gets scared easily, but that did not happen this time. He was like, cool, yeah, you're there. So yeah, but then so the wedding was so sweet. My best friend, she looked beautiful, and so was the venue. The venue was gorgeous. My friend was gorgeous. The vows were so sweet. They wrote their own vows, and there were lots of prayers, which I really liked. Yeah. And then it wasn't too long. So then it was over, and then they took a bunch of pictures, and so the rest of the guests were just kind of waiting while they were taking pictures. But I did get to say hello to even more old friends. I told you it was a reunion trip, and it was so funny. So I went to go see one friend who was the bridesmaid, and I said hello to her, and then there were 2 other people, and then so it was a guy and his older sister, and he was like, hey, Aubrie, and I'm like, I have no idea who this person is. And so I gave him a hug. I was like, I'm sorry, I don't remember you. And so then I left. I went over to my mom and I'd be like, Mom, who's this person? And then she told me. I was like, oh yeah, I remember his sister. I didn't remember him at all. But it was funny. So they were actually sitting at our table, so I was able to be like, I'm sorry, I didn't remember what they looked like. I remember their house, I remember her toys, I remember feeding her hamster, I remember like quite a few things. And she actually wrote me a letter and I wanted to write her back. This was when I was so little. I wanted to write her back for the longest time, but I could never get her address. So now I have her phone number, so we can still keep in touch. And yeah, so it was great to see them. Her brother was a great conversationalist. My brother was actually really observant, and he was more observant than I was. I think I was just too self-conscious because of my sunburn. I had this beautiful white dress, a shirt that I was wearing underneath my dress. It went past my sleeves. It was just covering everything because my sunburn is right here. But yeah, it's like right where the seatbelt goes. It was the worst place to get a sunburn. And so I do tan, but my brother was laughing at me about this. I was like, yeah, I got tan, but I also got a 2nd-degree sunburn. So I do tan, but I was wearing a dress that I hadn't really worn out before. Not very often, so it was like this patch of skin that never really got to see the sun. And normally I wear my hair down too, but I was wearing my hair in braids, so it was so funny. I got a little bit sunburnt right here, and then you could just see this pale strip where my braid was, and then the 2nd-degree sunburn. Yeah, so normally I tan, but not with skin that's never seen the sun before, just being in the sun for an hour or two. So yeah, but sorry, I went off on rabbit trail. But yes, so we talked for a while, and then we had dinner, and I opted out of the vegetables. I don't like vegetables, so I didn't get vegetables. I didn't get the salad. I got just the meat and the potatoes and bread. Yeah, I'm not a vegetarian. I'm not a vegan. But yeah. Yes, so we ate, and then there was the speeches and the toasts, and those were so sweet. I was trying not to cry. I almost cried. And then we had cake, and then there was the first dances. And so then she had the first dance she had the dance with her dad, which is a thing. But then she also did a dance with her brother, which I'd never seen that before. I haven't been to that many weddings, but I just thought that was really cool. And I was just thinking about, I've got 3 brothers. I'm like, if I did that, we'd be here forever. But yeah, it was really cute. And then the groom, he danced with his mom, and then he also danced with his grandma. And that was sweet. And then they did the money dances. So I went to one other wedding where they did this. I don't know if this is a common thing. It's common to me, I guess, because 2 of the weddings that I've been to have had it. So it seems like a thing that's always there, but I also haven't been to too many weddings, like I said. So it's just basically like you you give the bride or the groom money and then you dance with them. So we didn't do it this time, but the wedding that I went to when I was really little, I did it, and I was so small. And so the groom, he picked me up when he was dancing with me, and I was holding onto his shoulders, and I just squeezed really tight. I think it was just on like the fabric, and it was written all over my face. I was like, I know I'm cute and I'm little, but do not pick me up. I'm so afraid of heights. It was funny. Yeah, so then they opened the dance floor, and y'all, we danced for like 3 hours. My legs turned into like jello, but I still kept dancing. I'm like, I don't even have control over my limbs anymore, but I can't leave. So yeah, I danced for a little while with my heels on, but they were really high. And so I ended up taking them off and then just dancing barefoot. We didn't do the Macarena, but we did do like the Cupid Shuffle and like 2 other dances that were like, it's just the same moves that you do over and over again so that everyone can do them together. And that was really fun. I love those types of dances. And yeah, there were no slow dances. It was just fast dances. And my brother was like, all the songs are in Spanish. They weren't all, but I was like, yeah, it's fine. I don't know. I didn't mind it. Yeah. Not that it's a bad thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It was just an observation. But yeah. So then we danced, and then they did the bouquet toss, and I did not catch the bouquet, or else I'd be like showing it to you, and be like, I'm gonna get married. I'm so single. And then they did the garter. I think that's what it is. They put the garter on a football, and then he tossed it, which was fun. I don't even know if my brothers were there. So, and then when we sent them off, I don't know, we had this row of sparklers. We all had sparklers, and so they ran down to the car in between all the sparklers, and then they got in the car, and my sparkler went out, but a lot of other people's sparklers were still going. So then they drove past the sparklers, and it was really cute and really sad. And then we said goodbye to all of our friends, and then we drove down. So my dad had reserved a hotel, but our friend ended up reserving a hotel for us, so we went to that hotel. And there was a little bit of drama with that. There was supposed to be 2 rooms for us because we were supposed to have our grandma come, but she didn't end up coming, so we just stayed in 1 room because we can do that. And yeah, so we had a lot of drama in that hotel. I don't know if I'm supposed to tell the stories because it doesn't really involve me. It's mostly my family and my brother. So there was some drama in that hotel. It was really funny though. Afterwards, I thought it was funny the whole time. Other people were stressing out. But yeah, we almost didn't even stop in a hotel because we're like, we have to wake up in 6 hours, which ended up being 5 hours because it took us a while with the drama, and we all had to take showers. I was so afraid to take a shower because of my sunburn. It felt so weird during all the dancing, and I was sweating a lot, so it got like sweat and gross, and I'm like, but I watched it. It was fine. So then 5-6 hours later, we woke up, and then we hit the road again. We were on the road again, and then we drove 12 hours that day. We made it to New Mexico, and we went and we saw our family in New Mexico. I didn't vlog any this time or on the way back. So we drove to New Mexico, we saw our family, we stayed in a hotel, we drove to Joplin? Did we drive to Joplin? No. Maybe. Not to Joplin. We drove into Missouri. I'm fairly certain we drove into Missouri. We drove somewhere. I think it was Missouri. I think it was just the very edge of Missouri. Or maybe it wasn't. I don't remember. We drove somewhere. We stayed the night. We drove 12 hours the second day on our way home. And then our last day, we slept in. And then we pretty much missed breakfast, but the lady was so sweet. She was like, breakfast ended at 9. And I'm like, oops. But then she still took care of us. She's like, but yeah, here, I'll turn this on for you. And then she was so sweet. Even though we were half an hour late, because we slept in a lot. Yeah, so she took care of us. We had breakfast. We didn't get on the road till pretty late. We drove home, but on our way, we actually stopped at the world's largest gift shop and a candy factory. So I'm going to put in a clip from
They fled the frontier as fast as they could. The indications are, later, Houston had sent Isaac as an emissary to Washington to gather support for the Texas Revolution. The Parkers arrived in Austin on a chilly January day to find the city firmly in the grip of secession fever. Abraham Lincoln had been elected president the previous fall.
That was super cute. And yeah, we've been there twice, and it's really fun. I really like that place. It's definitely got to be a road trip tradition. I just imagine going on road trips myself in the future and be like, we have to go here. But yeah, so then we drove home, and I think we watched Baby Driver, which my uncle introduced us to the first 10 minutes when we went to his house in New Mexico. And so we finished watching Baby Driver, and it was all right. I really liked the first part, but I felt like the whole reason they did this movie was to just like have this huge music focus and to be like everything really visually cool by like everything was hitting the sound of the beat, but the story wasn't the best. So I think with just that information, like you have to know what you're watching it for, or you know, have to know what the main purpose of the movie was. And it wasn't the best story-wise, but it was good in other ways. So I really enjoyed that. We weren't allowed to watch it for a while because it was rated R, but it was actually just rated R for like language and violence. And when I was watching it, I was like, why is this rated R? Like, John Wick is our rated R go-to movie. So, yeah. Oh, I forgot to mention, so we actually listened to 4 books in the car. So technically I read 5 books, but I was asleep for like 2 of the books. Yeah, but I'm still probably gonna put that onto my Goodreads and be like, hey, I read these books, even though I didn't really. I sort of did. My dad said it counted, so I'm gonna count it. And yeah, so they were like Civil War books, which was cool. We were just bored. And then the really cool one I thought was like the one with cowboys and Indians, but not Indians. Yeah, and then the one about football and the air raid, which I thought was cool. People are gonna be like, what are you talking about? Yeah, I like football because I have brothers that play football. Or not that I necessarily like it, I just know about it, I guess. So that book was actually interesting. I was trying to fall asleep, but I couldn't. I'm like, I'm paying attention to this one. And yeah, so then we got home and I stayed up really late, even though on the drive home, I was like, oh no, Mom, I'm getting sick. And she's like, is it just allergies? And I was like, maybe it's just allergies. No, I at least have a sinus infection. And it was just like, as soon as we crossed the border into Illinois, it was just like, attack. And I'm like, I'm allergic to Illinois. So, my fams. Oh, yeah, I don't know if you could hear it, probably. But yeah, I'm fairly certain I'm allergic to Illinois. Every time I go on a walk here, I get sick. So I think it might just be Illinois. There's a wasp that is stuck in my window, and I'm not gonna like try to let him out, but he's having a crisis. He's still there. And yeah, so we got home, I unpacked. My room was nice and clean. My mom put my AC unit back in my window so I don't have it laying around on my floor. So thank you, Mom. And yeah, so I got everything. What else did I do? I had a lot of trouble sleeping because my nose was killing me, but I slept a lot yesterday and I slept better last night. So I've been getting back to work today, and then hopefully I'll be able to listening to Avatar. Yeah, so hopefully I will be all ready and like at least better, this less sick for when July starts. So yes, I'll be posting my July goals soon, so be on the lookout for that. And yeah, I think that was it. Sorry for the rambles. I had a lot of fun on this road trip. I'm totally ready for the next one once I get unsick. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. I will see you in the next one. Bye.